Electrolux. I worked at the Electrolux for a little more than a month now, so it's still all very new to me. This course that we sent in for review, it's about induction hobs, so it's information about the product and what's new about it. The learners are trainers, so the course is for trainers, so they get to know the products better, so they can inform it further. So that's the target audience.
And sorry if I can just break in there. By trainers,
Yeah.
do you mean store personnel, or who are you referring to exactly?
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, so that would be frontline store personnel.
Yes.
Okay, great. And what would be the main thing that you'd like to learn today?
Just a second. I'm just gonna. I couldn't find my notes, but the main thing is mostly that I just want to learn how to engage people better, have more interaction in the courses, more interactivity, and I want to learn how to keep it short, but you don't want to kill your darlings, so to say, but keep it short and precise and get to the point. Don't have these 20-minute courses, depending on the subject, of course. But yeah, it's sort of those things, I guess.
Okay, so actually to learn about how you can keep your audience engaged with including interactivity.
Yeah.
And also ensuring that you don't make your course too long, but still you are able to provide all the informative content that you wanted to share with them.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your introduction, Jack. And I'm going to hand the word to Alexandra, who prepared your course review.
Okay.
Alexandra, you may also share your screen.
Yeah, hi everyone. 1 second. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Showing up now.
Oh, that's great. Let me make it in the... Oh, yeah, nice. Okay, thank you all for joining us today. So we are really happy to see that there are so many people today in our Q&A session. And special thanks to special thanks to you, Jack, for allowing us to review your course. And I would like to share our compliments with you, because this course is really well designed and well structured. So, and there are only a few tips and tricks which we would like to share with you today. So, and our tips are on how to keep audience engaged with just-in-time, bite-sized delivery, learner course interaction, and personal approach. Okay.
Great.
Yeah, so, and as you know, probably while designing an online course, the #1 spot should always go to introduction development. It's as crucial as a good CV when you apply for a job. It's the first thing your audience will see and decide whether you are hired or not. Then start with eye-catching, attention-grabbing introduction. To create an appealing, didactically sound course intro, tell your learners about, first of all, the ultimate goal of your course. Yeah, this is the main reason they're taking the course. Then just briefly list the key topics, subjects they will cover in the course. Also, please mention the main outcomes, what benefits they'll get by completing the course. It's also good to outline the study time. Yeah, it will enable your learners to control pace and time of their learning. And the last but not the least, make it a little bit of fun. Yeah, so just start off with some relevant, cool story. Yeah, being a huge fan of the Game of Thrones series, and I believe that there are some fans in the audience today. Yeah,
absolutely.
So, yeah, I'm anticipating the final season in April, so just fingers crossed, it will be released. So then I suggest such introduction as winter is coming, so let the Electrolux induction hobs training begin. And there is Jon Snow appearing.
Nice.
So our second tip about the size of the course, yeah? So when we are willing to impart knowledge to our colleagues or customers, we have so many ideas in our mind that we tend to create huge content-heavy courses to include all of our thoughts, yeah? And then at the end, we have such a huge elephantic course. But because of its size, you know, it's quite difficult to deal with an elephant. So our suggestion is chunk it. Instead of one huge elephantic course, create 2 tiny baby elephant courses. So as you know, this technique is called chunk learning or bite-size learning or micro-learning. So when you break up a very huge module into separate shorter lessons, and it's especially useful when it comes to online courses, because a lot of our learners, and I am not an exception, yeah, tend to scan instead of reading the entire page. And Casper, would you like to tell more about the chunk bite-size learning? Casper? Casper,
yeah, sorry, I was talking, but I was on mute, so that is that was the problem.
Hi, Casper.
Yeah, so there's a lot of research being done to bite-sized learning, chunk learning, learning snacks, whatever you call it. There is a trend to make things shorter, definitely. It depends also really on the kind of learners you have, the kind of devices they use. And there's no like golden rule. There's no like the best time for a course is something like 5:25 or something like that. That is, you don't have any proof for that. But what we do know is that you see that people will drop off if a course is longer. And the trend that you see is that it's better to chunk it up into sections of 15 minutes and maybe a bit more, but not more than that. So that is where you see a lot of people going to.
Yeah, thank you, Casper, for your input. That's really useful.
Yeah.
So go further. Yeah, so, and one of the most pleasant things when it comes to creating online courses, learning objectives, yeah? So they are undoubtedly cornerstones of well-structured courses. They are equally important for course participants and course authors. Learning objectives allow learners to think about how they can benefit from the module once they've completed it. Also, the objectives formulated at the very beginning of creating a module, so they help subject matter experts to add only relevant material. So cut the information short because you have the ultimate goal of this chapter or of this section in your mind. So learning objectives help subject matter experts and course authors, so they encourage reflection and good course design and development. The next one, so how to keep the course interactive, how to keep it engaging, yeah? So it all comes to learner course interaction, So it's all about asking questions. You know, being enrolled for a few online courses as a student, I can tell you from my own experience that questions make me tuned in. So if there are no questions in the course, you know what I usually do? I just click the play button and I just keep multitasking, yeah? I can read a part of the page, I can watch a little bit of the video, and then I start just looking through the posts on Instagram or Facebook. So, and when I know that there are some questions, yeah, especially at the beginning or at the end, which will test my knowledge, then I'm very attentive and very focused, yeah? So, and you can add different types of questions. You can add some of them at the beginning, and thus you will trigger the previous knowledge of your learners, yeah? And you can add some at the end to test how good yeah, so they are. So I mean, how attentive they are. So, Jack, in your course, there is only one section that includes questions. So the course progress depends now only on that particular section. And if your learners fail even one question, it means that the whole course will be failed. So what I suggest, yeah, if you don't want, for example, to evaluate your learners, you can add open questions or you can add survey questions. And thus you will just keep this interaction with your course participants. Just make them click the buttons, yeah? So thus they will be more interested and more focused, believe me. Other feedback, and feedback really matters. So if we come to your course, yeah, so I love the questions that you created. They are really brilliant. So the only thing that is missing here is the feedback, yeah? Feedback is very important because it provides encouragement and it makes audience feel that they really are a part of the community and that there is a person behind the screen who is eager to help them out. So please provide timely and useful feedback, especially if the question is answered incorrectly. And here I have an example. It's just something like, sorry, this is incorrect. Please review assisted cooking section for the correct answers and try again. Next one. So
can I add something, Alex, here?
Yeah, sure.
So about feedback, so that is extremely important. And what is important for you to realize, if you create a course and you put questions in, those questions are not to assess the learner. Those questions are to test the learner, to help them find out if they understood what they read, if they actually learned anything. So therefore, feedback is extremely important because it will help them, if they make a mistake, it help them understand what they did wrong and they will learn from that. So a lot of people, when they create questions, they look at that from a sort of an assessment point of view. But in a course, that is not the right view. You need to look at it from a learning point of view. A question is a learning moment. Okay, go ahead. Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, so it was my best joke of this course, Casper.
Oh, sorry. Did I ruin something? Oh.
Okay, let it be. So this situation happens to me every day. Yeah, so my headphones are tangled every day and it's a complete disaster for me because I just hate when it happens. So, and sometimes it can happen to your learners as well. Yeah, if there are no clear instructions, clear, concise instructions on what should be done in the course. Yeah. So our next tip is please provide directions always and in various ways. Yeah, so for example, this page, yeah, I love it. It's really brilliant. First of all, it contains a very nice informative video under 6 minutes, yeah. And also there is a video script right under the video fragment, yeah, so where learners can read if they were not attentive enough while watching it. So, and the only thing I would add, yeah, is the just short introduction, yeah. Something like, please watch this video so you will know more about 4 cooking zones, and this video will last for like 5 minutes. So it's already get your learners trapped, tuned in, immersed. Mm-hmm. And the same here, yeah, so it's a brilliant page, it's very interactive, it's a hotspot page, yeah, so it's great. So, and the only thing I would add again is the instruction. Please click the hotspots to learn the new features of Electrolux induction. By the way, a very interesting topic. And the last but not the least, yeah, stay personal. Stay personal by communicating with your learners. Here I mean, yeah, so first of all, again, my compliments on your thank you page. Yeah, it's very great. And for me as a learner as well, to get this feeling of achievement at the end of the course. Yeah, and this feeling of gratitude that, yeah, I did it. It's perfect. Thank you for that. So what this page lacks, yeah, is a short summary of what the course participants have learned and what goals they have achieved. And also, so what we recommend to do, yeah, at the end, please enable learner satisfaction survey or just add a few open questions to collect learners' feedback on the course. Also, you can provide your learners with the contact information in case they have just some questions regarding the content structure or content questions, whatever. Yeah, so thus you will just be a person, yeah, behind the screen, and you will be just a right person to contact in case of questions, and it's a very personal approach. So thank you a lot. And Jack, what do you think about my tips and tricks?
A lot of good ideas, and I've learned a lot during this, so this was helpful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate your help and willingness to collaborate. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Alexandra, and thank you, Jack. I guess to summarize, one of the key things we've learned from this course review is to create an attention-grabbing course introduction and to add meaningful feedback for your learners, and to also offer a clear wrap-up page. Okay, so then we are ready to move on to our second course review of today. And for that, I will share my screen again. Can everybody see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So the second course that we will be reviewing today is from Hershey Bell. Hershey, would you like to introduce yourself and your course topic?
Absolutely. Thank you very much for inviting me. And I just wanted to say hello to all the LECOM folks who are on the call today. We are a school of pharmacy within a large health professions college. And we migrated to Easy Generator about 2 years ago, primarily because we have a distance education program. And we have students studying from all across the United States in our Doctor of Pharmacy program. But
this is Sarah speaking. I'm looking for Melissa.
Sorry?
This is Sarah from
Hershey, we lost you for a little bit.
No, there was somebody else, I think, talking.
Okay. Are you able to hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So I don't know how much you heard, but we're a school of pharmacy, and we teach by distance education and by live education. We have between a 3- and 4-year program that leads to the Doctor of Pharmacy degree. One of the courses in our curriculum is an elective course which teaches our pharmacy students about empathy and its impact on clinical care. It's a 10-week course, and it's co-taught by myself and Dr. Dan Austin. And this particular section that we're looking at today is an introductory section where we introduce students to the concepts of empathy. My main question for the team is part of our issue in our program is students have to retain their knowledge for their entire 3 to 4 years of study because, number one, they're taking board examinations at the conclusion of their study, so they have to remember everything they've learned. And second, they are going to use everything that they're taught in their careers as professional doctors of pharmacy. So what we're looking at is how do we use engagement strategies to foster long-term learning.
Thank you, Hershey. So I'd like to give the word to Olga, who's made your course review today.
Hi guys, let me share my screen. Do you see my screen now?
Not yet.
Okay, might take some time.
Yes.
Okay. So when you can see it, so I will start.
Yeah, but not showing.
I don't see your screen yet, so perhaps maybe try to share it again.
Yeah,
Share
I will.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's starting now.
Okay, perfect.
Now it's loading. Yeah, it's visible. Yeah.
Great, thank you. So first of all, I really want to express my gratitude to Hershey Bell for sharing his course. While I was working on the review, I took it, And actually, I was so interested in the topic, it really grabbed my attention, and I really like the way that you present information by recording these short videos. They are so cool, and the topic is really clearly explained, and everything was like easy to understand for me, even I'm not a professional in this field, obviously. So thank you very much, and let me now share my remarks and suggestions on how you can improve your course and add a little bit more interaction for your learners. So right now we can see the first screen of the course. This is the course introduction. That's really nice that you've added it. And my only suggestion here is to do a little bit extended, because the course introduction is the right place where you create a kind of emotional connection with your learners, which is very important for an online course, because basically learners can't see you, and the way you choose your tone of voice in the course, it creates kind of bridge between you as an instructor and your learners. So how you can do this? First of all, you can add a short greeting, like presenting yourself and telling your learners more what the course is going to be about. Then you can also suggest some steps, like how they should follow the course to make most out of it. And also, it would be nice to add the approximate duration of a course. And after that, you can add a warm wish, like to wish your learners good luck, and that's it. So that will make it perfect, and that will make your learners more relaxed and tuned in, and it will be easier for them to grab the information. Okay, so the next page is the sections page. And in the course, we have two sections, like the first one with the objectives and the second one with the content itself. As you can see on the panel on the left, the section contains quite a lot of pages and questions and videos. So as Alex already mentioned, it's a good idea to divide a course into like smaller pieces or smaller sections. And while I was studying the content, I found out that it can actually be divided into three smaller topics. Like the first one would be what is empathy, where you give the definition. And then the second one, the fourth one actually, can be about teaching empathy. And the last one can be about overcoming barriers to empathy. So instead of presenting all these pages in one section, you can present them in like smaller sections, step by step. So our advice here is to not include more than 10 pages or questions in one section. Just make them smaller. So the next page is the one with the learning objectives, which is great because in this way your learners know what they are expected to know and what they are expected to achieve at the end of the course. My only suggestion here is connected to the previous slide. So you can divide these objectives and spread them like evenly between the new suggested sections. For example, objectives 1 to 6 can go to the first section, what is empathy. Then objectives 7 to 10 can go to the second section, and so on. So that at the beginning of every section, you will clearly show the learners what the section is going to be about and what they are expected to achieve. So you can present the objectives on the content page, on the first content page of each section. Okay. I hear some music on the background. So the next page is the readings, where the next page is the readings, where you can see a couple of documents embedded. So there are like 5 or even more documents embedded on this page. And instead of doing that, I suggest creating a separate recommended reading section and present only one document per page. So again, keep it short, and it will allow your learners to concentrate on one document at a time. So this is probably my favorite page in this course. On the left, you can see the actual page as it looks like right now. I really love it because here you see the question and the image followed by the video. And I was really intrigued because I tried to indeed find out who of these two people was holding 4 aces. So I was anticipating the answer and I was really looking forward to the answer in the video. So it's a really great way to show your learners the gap between what they already know and what they will learn at the end of the course. My only suggestion here is to make it a little bit more interactive. So instead of having one page, I suggest dividing it into 2 separate pages. The first one will be the single choice question with the image, the short instruction, like why you're asking this question and what the learners should think of, and answer options and feedback, where you create a bridge between this slide and the next slide. Like here you can say that please continue to the next page and watch the video to find out if your guess is right. So the next page will be the video with the answer.
Olga, can I say something?
Yeah, of
It's
course.
also possible to include a video in your feedback, isn't it? So you could have the explanation and your feedback included.
Yeah, you can either add the video on the next page or just add it into the feedback section. Yeah, that's a perfect remark. Thank you, Casper.
And one question, I'm really curious which of the 2 players is actually holding the aces. What is the answer?
Yeah, tell us.
I thought you were gonna tell them, Olga.
No, maybe
tell
they
her,
will take your course to find out, or maybe you can present.
Well, I'll tell you, it's a trick question. The answer is you can't tell.
Okay.
And I'll just take a second. When I found this slide, I actually emailed the author and said, so which one's holding the 2 aces? Because I wanted to.
Okay, that's really cool. Thank you for that.
Yeah. So here you can see the question, the follow-up question. Actually, Hershey includes a question after each video, which is really great because, as mentioned before, questions help to help learners to stay tuned in and you. So if they know that the video will be followed up by a question, they will watch it more attentively and really try to understand everything which is presented. The only remark here is to add some meaningful feedback. Instead of just saying incorrect, try again, which is a little bit dry, you can explain them a little bit more, why this answer is incorrect and what they can do to improve. Here you can see the suggested feedback. So you can explain that empathy goes beyond such characteristics and requires full connection. So, and a little advice, please watch the video once again and try again. So this goes for all questions in the course. And here is the example of the page with the videos. Let me emphasize once again that the videos are really great. They are short and very informative, and I really like the way that you present the information. And to make it even better, I suggest adding a short introduction before the video, telling your learners what the video is going to be about and what they are going to learn. And also after the below the video, you can add a show more block and add a short summary of the video or a video transcript if possible. For example, if some of the learners can't or don't want to watch the video, they can always read the summary and know what the video is about. And also, please present only one video per page instead of having 2, 3, or more videos, because it will also help your learners to concentrate on one piece of information at a time. This is the final page of the course. The actual page is shown on the left. This is a very good point to allow your learners ask some questions if they have any. But this is a content page, and the problem is where to type the question. So how can I share my questions? So the suggested workaround would be to create an open question with the same instruction, so that people can actually type their questions and share them with you. And after that, you can discuss these questions during the face-to-face session. And also, we recommend to add a wrap-up page for this course where you can reflect and connect and remind your learners once again of what they have learned and what they have achieved. Then you can share some useful resources and give directions for the next steps. And you can also provide a feeling of achievement, saying something like, well done, or good job, or giving some personal feedback, which is really great. So that's basically it, all my tips for your course, because it's almost perfect, and the only remarks are to add some friendly tone of voice, to a bit restructure it, and to add some meaningful feedback after each question. So thank you for your attention. Maybe you have any questions or anything you can clarify.
Yeah, thank you very much. Again, we're looking at how to standardize courses for our students, and I think a lot of the tips you gave today were helpful. I saw that while this was going on, there was a question from one of our faculty that had to do with the ability to record at the same time that you're producing these videos. Some sort of a voiceover app. Is there anything in the works for that?
Can I answer that? At the moment, you can only add a voiceover file that you record in another tool. So the assumption is that you have something on your computer and you can upload that into the file. So every page has a voiceover section. So you have a button. If you click it, you can select the file and it will autoplay. And there are plans. We did do some research. So one of the plans is, but it will not be on a really short notice, to create an app. Because we found out that people are struggling sometimes to get audio, but also video and images in. So the idea is that you have an easy generator app, which is connected to your account. So just shoot a video, record an audio, or take an image, and with one press of the button, it's in your library. So then it's very easy to reuse that. So that's something we hope to do later this year.
Oh, excellent.
Or later next year, I have to say. The year's almost finished, of course.
Great. Well, thank you again. And I just want to finally say that I'm just grateful that you invited me, given all the questions I bother you with all the time.
You're not bothering us with questions.
Okay, thank you, Olga and Hershey. Yeah, I guess one of the main things to take away from this was indeed to make smaller sections. So to make sure that the sections are no longer than 10 pages. And also to connect the several learning objectives that you have for your learners to these individual sections, rather than showing them all at once on one page. And just one of the things that I've learned from this course review as well is it's indeed nice to see how you include a question after each video. So I think that's also a great point to highlight here. So we are actually ready to go on to our third and last course review of today. And that would be the course review of DeLonghi. I think my screen is popping up.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So for that, I would like to ask Garrett Griffiths to introduce himself.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah. Please take the word.
So my name's Gareth Griffiths. I'm the product training specialist for DeLonghi, based in Italy. So we're a domestic appliance manufacturer with a very strong focus in coffee. I've actually been with the business in this role for the last 4 months. I've been with the business for 10 years now, and only recently moved to Italy. So I've learned a lot of hand movements and gestures. I actually come from a very technical background. So I was a senior quality technician at DeLonghi UK for 6 years, and then moved into marketing. So for the last 4 years, I was the marketing product manager for DeLonghi UK. And I'm very market orientated on a lot of things. The course I've got today is coffee and coffee machines. It's a general introduction to coffee trends in the domestic market. So it's all about the type of coffee beans that you would use. It's to provide insight on basic knowledge. So there's nothing specific about any of our machines. It's more a concept. It's more a base level understanding. And my audience for this are our subsidiary trainers. So we have a team of trainers around the world. I think about 35 different trainers we have globally, who will all translate these courses to suit their own markets and provide training from that as well. So we're essentially on the central hub for our global network.
Yoni, you're muted.
Is it okay?
Thank you, Gareth.
Thank you, Gareth. Sorry, I was muted. So I guess the last question I wanted to ask you is, what will be the main thing you'd like to learn today?
Okay, so yeah, the main thing is it's all about how to make it much more interactive and engaging, how to get people to feedback as well. I want to improve the content that we create and tailor it to suit the needs of our audience. So it's a way to continually improve. From a personal point of view, coming from a very marketing orientated background, I'd like to know how best to tailor the training modules to trainers. So not necessarily to people that are commercially or marketing involved, but are much more into how to use something or how to do it and how to train someone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. So I guess also to summarize that is to obtain that level of engagement that would actually also drive the learner to give feedback on your course.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry, may I give feedback on Italian coffee? So it's fabulous. Sorry for interrupting. Sorry, guys.
No, that's a fair point, Alexandra. It's worth interrupting for. So I want to hand the word to Alina, who took care of the course review of DeLonghi.
Excellent.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. And my special compliments to Gareth and Caroline, who is also the course author. So it's an amazing course. And while reviewing it, I was really inspired. And I learned a lot about coffee and about DeLonghi coffee machines. So right now, I would like to share some... Yoni, can you please stop sharing? So I would like to share some tips and tricks on how to make a perfect e-learning course. So this is the screen. Mm-hmm. Can you see my screen now?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Just a moment. Yeah, so as I have already mentioned, this is a course called Coffee and Coffee Machines from the DeLonghi Group, and the course author is Caroline Watson and Gareth. So the first tip that, the first thing that I would like to mention is that the course is really well structured and learning content and assessments are alternated, which makes it easy to keep the learners immersed during the learning. What else would I like to mention? The learner satisfaction survey. So my compliments to you that it's enabled actually, and that your learners could give you some feedback on your e-learning and a few words about this tool. So it's a built-in NPS feature in Easy Generator. This survey consists of a one-point questionnaire for your users to rate their learning experience, and it will also help help you measure how satisfied your learners are with the learning content you've created and what is good or bad about your training. So as we can see at my screenshots, it is activated in the course that I'm talking about, and this is really a great thing about it. What else? Course is full of interactive content, so we can see hotspots and full of short informative videos that keep learners interested and engaged throughout the whole course. All the images are relevant and up to the point in terms of presented information, of presented content. What else is great is that you provide really meaningful feedback for your course takers. So at the following example, we can see feedback for an incorrect answer. It helps a course taker to understand what should be mastered, what should be improved. And it also motivates the learners to retake the question in a correct way. So right now, let's proceed to to my pieces of advice. Let's start with the very beginning, with the introduction. So this introduction is really meaningful and instructive, but it appears a bit too long. So it's better to shorten it a bit, including several eye-catching sentences that will grab learners' attention and give a quick overview of what the course is going to be about. As far as I remember, my colleague Alex has already mentioned a key principle of a perfect course intro. So it's all about a quick overview of goals, key points, benefits, study time, and engagement. Let's go further. Let's talk a bit about learning. So in your course, there are no learning objectives at all. So I suggest creating them because they will really help you understand whether the course takers have reached the learning goals or not. And you can either create them yourself or just use our great tool, Learning Objective Maker, which is integrated into Easy Generator. I have just circled the needed button. So it takes just one mouse click to get there. And right now I want to hand out the word to Casper. I believe he would like to tell us a bit more about our LO Maker, right, Casper?
Yes, but I have to unmute. Yes, by the way, I can tell that I actually have one of the coffee machines that you showed earlier, so I can testify that the Longi makes good coffee machines. So well done. Yeah, so the Learning Objective Maker, it's really, really important to work from learning objectives. It's both important for the author and the learner. And for the author, it's really important to have a clear idea of what you are going to write about and what you will put in and what you will not put in. Your objective will help you determine that. Also think about your audience. But also for the learner, it's really important to manage their expectation. And we saw that in one of the earlier courses with Hershey, that was really well done, that you have the learning objectives, and that really helps you up front as a learner to sort of manage your own expectations. And our Learning Objective Maker is a very simple tool based on Bloom's taxonomy, and it will take you in 4 simple steps through that process of creating a learning objective. And you'll see that if you use that and then look at your course from the beginning, from that perspective, that will change quite a lot in what you will put in and what you will not put in. I think that's it for now, Alina.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Casper. So these were main principles. Yeah, and let's go further. So it's now about the section titles. In the following screenshot, we can see that one section includes a large title, and there are some instructions. So I suggest adding these instructions into the first section page instead of keeping them here right in the section title. So I think it will be much more sufficient.
Excellent, yeah.
Yeah. Right now, let's have a look at the comparison of two different content pages in your course. So as we can see, the first page it's a bit overloaded with information, and the second one is divided into blocks. So to make it more like comprehensible, the first one, I mean, it's better to divide it and to add some media assets for each piece, for each information piece, as we can see in the second example. So it will be much easier for your course takers to get this information and to stay interested. Let's put it like that. Okay?
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, cool. Let's go further. And I have, so your course includes a lot of questions, and this is great because it challenges. And let's talk about true or false statement questions. So there is one such question in your course, and it includes just one statement there. So I believe such question types are great for recalling the comprehension of simple logic and understanding of learning material. So better to use just several statements, and that way it will challenge your course takers more. And you also be able to ask other questions about the learning material that was provided earlier in the course. So just instead of one statement, use several of them. And there is a slide about the drag and drop question. So the main thing about this page is that there are two identical text blocks on the question. So it's ready-made. They are circled at my screenshot. And it makes it almost impossible for a course taker to define which statement goes where, because your learners will have to classify them exactly the same way the author did that in the course editor. So it's a challenging task, and one of the text pieces needs to be changed in order not to confuse your learners when they get a failed attempt after answering correctly. So I hope that's clear, right?
Understood. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, good. Great, thank you. And I believe Casper has this very first DeLonghi coffee machine, right, Casper?
Yeah, that's mine indeed, yes. And I have a little remark about this question as well. And that is that we do get requests more often, and it's something we will build on later on in the tool, to change this question type a bit, to make categories, because people do have the need to, for example, if you have indeed 2 or 3 coffee machines which are in the same category, that you want to group them. So now it's always one text on one object, but we want to build in the option that you can actually make categories, so you could drag more text to one object or a place on the screen, so you can sort of divide that. So that's something that we will, that is in our roadmap as an enhancement for this question type. So I recognize that the double text because we see that more.
Yeah. Thank you, Casper. So let's go further. And it's about the wrap-up page. So it's better to add it because it appears to be a logical ending of the course. And it can either include a short summary with the course overview or outline, or just be a thank you page, or it also can be a call to action for further participation of your learners even after course completion. But I believe my colleagues, Ola and Alex, have already mentioned what should be included into this wrap-up page. So no need to double it. And the last slide is about your question, Gareth. So it's about how to keep your students engaged. And there are just small tips outlined. So just first one, it's keep it short. Do not overload your course with plain text. Divide it into small portions or blocks, and add some media assets to make it more engaging. Alternate. So use questions alongside with content to keep your learners active and challenged all the time. Also, you need to keep in mind these writing rules. I believe you know them, but just to recall them, it's about knowing your audience, have a clear goal, writing in short, use active voice, use images, videos, and so on and so forth. Information in small pieces, as we have already mentioned, is chunk learning. So use just short paragraphs and sentences and get straight to the point. And the last but not the least is feedback. So just always make sure your learners understand why this content is important, and attentive and meaningful feedback whenever they answer questions incorrectly. So I think that's it.
Amazing.
Thank you for your attention, and thanks once again for the course. I will send you this presentation a bit later.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Yeah, amazing feedback.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alina, and thank you, Garrett. Yeah, that brought us to the last course review of today. Some of the tips that we've heard throughout the several courses that we reviewed can also be found in our blogs series on the 9 cornerstones of effective course creation. And I will make sure that everybody receives a link to that blog series after this session. And you can see it on the screen right now. So this is the blog series that we have, very interesting. And you can find some tips on the do's and don'ts of course creation. I see that it's almost 5 o'clock, so we are ready to start wrapping up. Before we leave today's session, I think we have 1 minute or 2 minutes to hear some burning questions, if there are any, from the audience. I see some questions coming in on the chat, so let's have a little look there. Okay, I can see that there's already a request for maybe an additional course review session. So we will be holding these monthly training sessions, and topics will vary. But it's very likely after the success of today that we will introduce another course review session, and then I'll be in touch with you about the possibilities for a course review.
Can I say one small thing, Yoni, before we sign off? I want to thank especially the 3 customers who actually shared their courses. I think it takes some courage to do that and to be sort of judged in public. So thank you a lot for that. I really appreciate that. And I think they were really great courses. But I also want to thank the customer success team. I'm really proud that we have a team that not only can help our users by telling them how the tool works, but they actually have an e-learning background. And at EC Generator, we measure our NPS like we advise in the courses. And we have an NPS of 53, which is extremely high. So yeah, it's between -100 and +100. And if you do more than 0, you're doing a good job. And we have 53. And I really believe a big part of that is thanks to our great customer support team. So thank you, girls, and keep up the good work. I'm really proud if I see this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Casper, for adding that. Just a short note before we leave. I will also send everybody a link to us to our survey. So if you would like to help us improve this monthly session, if you would take the time, 2 minutes to help us improve our sessions, your feedback is really appreciated. Okay, thanks everybody for joining today.
Bye-bye.
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 Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.